Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Wolfman Walsh here, and I wanted to do a little bit of a modification on this Rough Ryder here in Damascus. Now, as you can see, or I hope you can see, it is Damascus. And in the sunlight, that actually pops pretty well. But inside the house or inside a building, it's really actually difficult to see. I've shown some people before, I'm like, man, look at this Damascus pattern. And it's kind of hard to see, but actually the sunlight is actually doing me a favor and really showing it off pretty well in front of the camera. But I want to try to make it pop just a little bit more than it already does. That way there is no debate or discussion of, is it Damascus? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to dip it in some ferric chloride for a little bit longer, and to see if I can really get those darks to come out. And if not, maybe we'll try some instant coffee. I do have just, there you go. Do this kind of one-to-one, and for my safety third people. Yes, I am outside. Yes, I'm wearing glasses. Now, since you can't really take apart a traditional, or I'm not going to take apart this traditional, I'm going to have to do this in two phases, starting with the smaller blade, actually. So I am just using a plastic cup that my kids don't use anymore. Lego Batman. Very high tech. Now you can see Lego Batman. I just want it to go basically to the sharpening choil and no further. I'm going to do that on both blades. I want to be able to stick the tip straight in.
That's what she said.
And let it rest on the bottom. All right. That may have been too much. All right, here we go. Yep, that was too much. So now I get to stand here and hold this as still as I can for about a minute, and get back to you when it's ready. All right, coming up on a minute here. Let's see if that made any difference whatsoever. There we go. So earlier, the sun was really helping us, actually. It doesn't normally. Really show off that Damascus pattern there. I was trying to see if it would do the same. Now that's actually kind of funny. I can see it under the camera when the sun hits it, but I can't see it just looking at it straight on like this. Like it's basically gone. That didn't work. So now it makes me wonder if we just go straight to the instant coffee on the bigger blade, if that will make that pop. Because that did not. It didn't make any type of differentiate between the high carbon and low carbon steels. Alrighty, well, let's move on to experiment number 2. And before I completely lose my train of thought in my mind, before we do the coffee on the bigger blade, let's sand this down to see if it did actually do any type of contrasting. I have some 800 grit sandpaper here, and yeah, let's just see what it does. Well, unfortunately, even after the little polishing or sanding, still not much to go on, other than, now I do have some grind lines over top of the Damascus. So
No, don't like that.
all right, well, since that clearly didn't work, there's been nothing change, other than it's actually even harder to see the Damascus now on the side that we tried to put back in the acid versus the main blade where you can still see it. Now we're moving on. I was really hoping that was gonna like pop back into the, there we go. We're gonna move on and try the old instant coffee method. So I picked up some instant coffee, got the water getting hot, Mixed reviews online about whether to use, hot water or room temperature water. Some people say start with hot water and then just let it sit at room temperature, because clearly you're going to let this sit for 24 hours or so. So it's going to get to room temperature anyway. I'm going to put just enough in this cup that this knife will stand up on that small blade, just to get the blade submerged, and everything else will stay above. All right, it is almost to a boil. So, got my bar spoon. I'm going to put this at a pretty heavy ratio to start with, and then I'm going to pour some of it out. But this is all just kind of shooting from the hip here. We're going to figure it out as we go, because most of the videos that I watched were from bladesmiths and blade makers that were doing a full, 8-inch, fixed blade, and so they needed quite a bit. It smells good. I like coffee. So we're going to make this pretty heavy on the coffee. We'll pour it out to where only just as much of the knife that I need in there fits, and we'll see what it does. I'm going to take some cling wrap and cling wrap around the bolster and the bone handle, just to make sure that we don't really get anything up in there. All right, poured the basically boiling water into our coffee. Give it a good stir here. Oh, that's great in focus, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So now I'm just going to pour out until there's just enough to keep the blade covered. All right, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's just up to the bottom of the bolster there. So that's where I want it. Now I'm gonna go set it over here in the corner for the next 24 hours or so. Also gotta finish doing dishes, life. All right, as long as nobody bumps it, that should stand there. And we will check back on it. Oh, you couldn't see that, could you? There it is, it's in there. So we'll check back on it in about 24 hours. All right, so now we have our instant espresso and our boiling water. Stir it up and then dump out what we don't need. So now we are going to set that in there. And with this being the bigger blade, I've actually stand it up and it's on the back side of the entire blade. So, okay, round 2, 3, 7, whatever we're on here. We'll wait about 24 hours and try this once again, see how it turns out.
3 days later.
So it's actually been several days due to baseball schedules and holidays, Mother's Day. That's actually been sitting there for, goodness, probably 60 hours at this point. So let's see what she looks like 60 hours in the espresso instant coffee. I am sad to report that absolutely not. There's no change. It still looks the same to the naked eye. Still looks the same to the camera. Like I said, it looks better under the camera. So it's not a great representation, but to the naked eye, it still isn't any darker. The Damascus doesn't pop. It doesn't pop any more than it did. So a little disappointed there, but hey, that's why we do these things, just to see. See, I wish, and I know I've probably said it already, that, see how good that looks right there? I wish it actually looked like that when you looked at it. The camera helps so much. It's disappointing. Okay, well, hey, I mean, it smells great. The entire knife smells like coffee now. So if there's one thing, it's a great smelling knife. So that's what we've done. We took a knife that didn't smell like anything and we made it smell like instant coffee. Anyway, so does anyone else have any tips or tricks that they think would work? I'm gonna have to Google to figure out why that didn't work. If it is the certain type of Damascus that just doesn't work with acid etching or instant coffee. Is there a third or fourth method that I could try to get that to pop? The camera is so deceiving. I will get Enzo to cooperate with me that knife does not look like that when you look at it. The camera helps out so much. Thanks for stopping by and watching this episode of Failed Successfully, where we learned that you cannot, in a method that I currently know or understand, etch that Damascus pattern any darker to make it stand out more to the naked eye. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We have more modding videos on the way. I think Enzo will be up next week with one, and you know, his are always a lot better than mine. So I'm trying, I'm practicing. You don't get better if you don't practice, and you know, failure is what breeds success. So I'm going to fail to get better. So on that note, I've been Wolfman Walsh for Knox Knife Mods, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.